Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. Today is actually an interesting podcast. It's not my usual subject because the micro patch 8.24b, has actually been released today. It has already been hotfixed to live. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the quick rundown on that. Now, this will let you guys know what you can be looking forward to in the next month or so, as Riot will be going on winter break here. They will not be in the office for around a month or so. So this is going to be the last major update for the game in 2018. So definitely keep your eyes on what these changes are, as they will have a fairly large impact and also will be on the servers for a lot longer in between patches. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at things. So first and foremost, there is no new cosmetic content in this patch. Don't expect that. Instead, it is entirely balance changes to try and get the game into a decent state, so when Riot leave, we're not complaining about something like last year's Camille release. Either way, let's go right into it with champion changes. First and foremost, Akali is being nerfed on this patch. Riot are trying to give enemies more chances to outplay Akali when she is in her Shroud or otherwise using Shroud shenanigans. First, they've refactored her stealth mechanics. Targeted abilities no longer fizzle whenever Akali stealths or re-stealths, so if you've already auto-attacked her and she goes back invisible, doesn't matter, will still hit her. Meanwhile, her re-stealth timing has been adjusted to scale with game time, not with champion level. So what this means is that it'll take a little bit longer for Akali to re-stealth at the early stages of the game. As games go late, she'll be re-stealthing much more quickly, but it's no longer dependent on champion level. So Akali will not be able to benefit from snowballing, getting to a higher level, and getting the re-stealth duration much reduced initially. However, along with all of this, the 8.24 nerf that Akali received has been reverted. This was the Shroud duration nerf, so her Shroud is back to the same duration it was prior to 8.24, but with the new re-stealth mechanics, hopefully this makes Akali a little less overbearing to deal with when she does press W. Secondly, Pyke is being nerfed as well. He is way too strong in the mid lane right now, so Riot are trying to bring him in line without unduly hurting his support play. His magic resistance growth has been reduced to make mid lane mages more able to burst him, and his Q's minion and monster damage has also been reduced, so he'll be dealing less damage to minions, won't be able to wave clear quite as effectively. Finally, the execute threshold on his R has been reduced at later levels, so hopefully that'll make it a lot easier for people to deal with mid lane Pyke, and actually gives him some weaknesses on top of everything else he had going for him. Alistar is being nerfed on this patch. Riot are trying to reduce his early lane pressure so he doesn't auto-win the lane after one good trade. His E's base damage and the empowered attacks bonus damage have both been decreased, so he won't be dealing quite as much damage in the trade. Caitlyn is being buffed. Riot have actually increased her Q's base damage and ratio, so that first hit will deal a lot more damage, but the pass-through damage has been reduced, so it's a lot more valuable to be able to land that first shot without having to shoot it through minions first. Her R's range has also been increased to 3,500 at all ranks. What this means is Caitlyn will always have the long-range snipes available to her, which is actually a pretty nice quality of life change for Caitlyn. Cassiopeia is being nerfed on this patch. Riot are just trying to remove Q-Max Cassiopeia, as that just dealt an insane amount of damage for not a lot of pressure from Cassiopeia. Her Q's mana cost has been increased, and the base damage is down at later ranks, so this will make it significantly weaker and harder to deal with. Neeko is being nerfed on this patch as well. Riot are generally happy with where she's at, especially since players are learning to play with and play against her mind games with her passive and her W, but they want to reduce her early game pushing and lane control. As a result, her Q's base damage and the bloom damage have both been reduced, so she won't be dealing as much damage. This is generally targeted at her wave clear, but it does mean she won't be able to burst quite as hard either, and will be a lot more dependent on sneaking around. Singed is receiving a buff on this patch. Riot are trying to give him a little bit more strength in lane in order to make it so that he can actually contest as opposed to just proxying immediately. His base health has been increased, and Fling's max percent HP damage has also been increased as well, so Singed will be hitting a lot harder and be able to take more punishment in early levels. Finally, for champions, Tristana is being buffed on this patch. Riot are really trying to increase her ability to pop people in the mid to late game stages of the game. Her E's base damage and ratio have both been increased, and the maximum amount of damage on her E has also been increased. Finally, moving on to items here. Forbidden Idol is being changed on this patch. Right now, enchanters are way too far below tank supports in terms of effectiveness, especially with the very high damage meta we currently have going on. As a result, they are receiving some buffs to their itemization to hopefully make it a little bit better for them to play with. Forbidden Idol's CDR has been increased, and the heal and shielding power on Forbidden Idol items, so things like Redemption or Ardent Censer, have been increased as well, so hopefully this makes enchanters feel a little bit better about competing with the likes of Leona, Alistar, and Pyke. Tiamat is being nerfed on this patch as well. Right now it's too good, allowing champions to just simply wave clear and get a lot of dueling potential, especially given that for the most part, champions that build Tiamat just sit on it. They never actually build it into an item until usually significantly later in the game. So Riot are making it more expensive to go for that strategy. Its cost has been increased by 125 gold. As compensation, though, the price of its upgrades into the Hydra items has been decreased, so it's the same total cost to build something like a Titanic Hydra, but it'll be a lot more expensive to get that first Tiamat. Zeke's convergence is being nerfed. Riot are trying to bring down the offensive capabilities so that other items feel like they can be built first. Auto attacks on your linked partner now only burn for 30% bonus magic damage instead of 50%. Hopefully this brings the item a little bit more in line and lets other items be built first instead. And finally, for 8.24b, turrets are actually getting a slight buff. Turrets now keep their baseline resistances from the game's start after turret plating falls off. Previously, they had a bunch of resistances, but once you hit the 13-minute mark, they lost those resistances, period. However, now plating fall off will just remove the extra resistances they got from broken plates. It does nothing at all to the baseline resistances that they got just from spawning in. So this should allow turrets to not fall quite as quickly the second plates fall off. Anyways, that is it for 8.24b, the last patch of 2018. Go ahead and let me know which changes you guys are most excited for down in the comment section below, and what you guys think Season 9 is going to look like. That will be the next patch coming out of the winter break, so if you guys already have a few things in mind for what you want to see, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and leave a like, and if you really enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days like today as well. And if you're looking for Grab the Lantern content, you can check out my blog, just linked down in the description. I upload an article just about each and every single day for your enjoyment. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later.